one of the very few places you're allowed on if you're unvaccinated. Increasingly, we are seeing more public places like this one being off limits to those who are not fully vaccinated against COVID-19. And while unvaccinated children between the ages of 5 and 11 are exempted from restrictions so far, is it only a matter of time before this changes? Well, in this episode of Talking Point, I want to find out what happens if my child is unvaccinated against COVID-19 in Singapore.
To date, more than 100,000 children below the age of 12 have gotten the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. But since vaccination is not compulsory, are there parents who don't intend to sign up? I conducted a survey in December. We asked 500 parents with children between the ages of 5 and 11 this question: would you vaccinate your child against COVID-19 in the next few months? The survey found that 21% of parents would not vaccinate their child, while 11% said they were unsure.
In the long term, maybe 5-10 years in the future, I wouldn't know what would happen to them.
This mother, who only wants to be known as Madam Xiao, is one parent who won't vaccinate her 5-year-old just yet.
I'm concerned about the lack of long-term data. Right now, we can see there are side effects like myocarditis and pericarditis and other issues. If my children were to get myocarditis, they might recover from it. But in the long term, maybe 5 years, 10 years in the future, I wouldn't know what would happen to them. Traditionally, vaccines usually take decades of trials and studies to determine whether these vaccines are safe and effective.
Specifically, what kind of data will give you assurance?
If the data can be shown that it wouldn't cause a long-term side effect, and you don't have any other symptoms in the future, that will give me an assurance.
Our survey revealed that among those who did not want to vaccinate their kids, like Madam Xiao, or were unsure, 76% were worried about the potential long-term side effects of the vaccine. And when it comes to information about the vaccine, 69% felt it is insufficient. So, what data do we have now? This is a US briefing document that was used to request the emergency use of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine for children. Within these 82 pages is data on the severity of vaccine reactions among children between the ages of 5 and 11 years old within 7 days after dose 1 and subsequently 3 months after dose 2. The document showed that the short-term side effects of the vaccine were typically mild to moderate, like fatigue, muscle pain and chills, with issues resolving within 2 days. A 5-year follow-up study is planned to look into the longer-term impact of the vaccine on children. I was told that your entire family got COVID about a month ago. Has this got anything to do with your decision not to vaccinate the children?
Well, to be honest, no. Even if they don't have COVID, I would choose not to vaccinate my child right now.
What about vaccination differentiated measures? If they were to introduce and affect 5 to 11-year-olds as well, would that change your mind?
I'll be very upset, I'll be very disappointed, but I think I will still not vaccinate my children because as a parent, as a mother, we are responsible for our children, and I would not want to trade their health for, unable to dine in, unable to go to attraction, unable to go to a tuition center or the shopping mall. I will still stand my ground that I think my children's health are more important than these.
What if in Singapore they implement the vaccination differentiated measures in schools? Will that change your mind?
A few parents, they are willing to do homeschooling for their children if this happens, and so do I.
And wow, and teach them yourself?
And teach them myself.
How long do you think you can go on with that? Or that is the plan for now?
My children are still pretty young, so maybe I'll just do what I can at home and see how this situation evolves. If it gets better, hopefully, and we can all go back to our normal life. If it doesn't, maybe I would consider migrating.
I really appreciate you sharing your story, but some people may say, are you being a responsible parent if you don't vax your kids? What are your thoughts?
To make this decision, I always weigh the risk and the benefits. When I see the data shows that children have very mild symptoms as compared to the elderly, and also their mortality rate, like in Singapore, is 0 death. So I don't see that this disease is a life-threatening disease until that, you need to vaccinate your child with this experimental vaccine.
I'm actually quite surprised how strongly Madam Xiao feels about not vaccinating her young children. I guess it goes to show how sensitive this issue can be. Perhaps I have less reservations because my daughter is older. For parents who are still not intending to vaccinate their child just yet or on the fence, we asked them at what age would they take the step.
Okay, Stephanie, I'm ready. Come inside, ready?
I'm going to share the results with you. 57% said 12 years and older. 6% said when the child turns 7 years old. 1% said they would vaccinate at 5 years old.
I'm quite surprised.
Stephanie was more than eager to have her 5-year-old vaccinated. She signed up the moment registrations opened.
So what are the reasons that you want to have Elizabeth vaccinated?
I think that the spread of COVID is really rampant, and it is a matter of time before somebody in my family or even my kids get it. Getting them vaccinated will prevent them from falling seriously ill. I mean, the science is there, the research is there.
What kind of research did you do?
So I have read the WHO recommendations, what the task force recommends, and I personally did the vaccination myself too, and I was okay, didn't have very bad side effects. So it's really just whether you believe in the science, whether you believe what they're telling you about the vaccination, and how confident you are in the authorities giving you this information. And for us, I think my husband and I, we think that it is better to go ahead with the vaccination for the children. And I would also vaccinate Maddie if they did the tests and allowed 3-year-old to be vaccinated.
I was just going to ask you that. Would you vaccinate her as well?
I would.
She's 3. You go right ahead with that.
I would do it.
Is there anyone within your social circles who feels that you are a bit too aggressive?
Actually, I don't know. This is a very sensitive topic. It's very sensitive for parents to say, why you want to vaccinate your children so young? You're not scared later something happen? Or at most they're very courteous and they'll say, oh, you're very brave. Don't need to be scared.
Okay.
Mommy hug you.
Mommy hug you, okay? So, okay, breathe in. Don't say breathe.
Breathe in.
Okay, you're going to be really, really brave, right?
Stephanie Lim has allowed our cameras to film her 5-year-old daughter, Elizabeth, being vaccinated against COVID-19.
Okay, Elizabeth, do you know why you're here?
Because I'm going for my jab.
Do you know why you need your jab?
COVID.
Yes, for COVID, yeah? Same one that Mommy and Daddy has
Why
done.
Mimi don't need it?
Because Mimi is only 3 years old, you need to be at least 5 years old. Okay?
Okay, so you all set, Stephanie? I will meet you after you finish.
Don't need to be scared. See, all the kids' one is special. You see the one orange with the otter on it? All the very gentle nurses. Everybody come out, so no problem. Come, let's go.
Good girl,
All right.
right? Okay.
Mommy hug you.
Mommy hug you, okay, Ken?
Mommy, it's going to be no pain.
Yeah, it's not painful, very fast.
Elizabeth, I need you to do something, okay? For these 2 weeks, no strenuous exercise, okay? So no running, no swimming. Ken, is it okay? So move your arm and then relax, okay? Auntie will try to be as gentle as possible, okay?
No, just a bit of
Just
discomfort.
a little bit pinch only.
Yeah,
Just a bit pinch.
just like when Mommy practiced
so
with you.
If you follow these 2 instructions, later I'll let you choose the lollipop, and then you also can choose the sticker.
Okay?
The sticker. Is it okay? Okay? Is it okay? Okay? Okay, yeah? Okay, breathe in. Don't say breathe.
Breathe in.
Breathe in, don't go. Okay, very good. Well done. Over.
And we are done. Good job, darling.
Good job, right? You want to choose your lollipop now?
Alright, so we just have to sit and wait now, okay? 30 minutes.
Oh, she's coming out. They're coming out. She looks fine. You are walking very jauntily. Where's the injection site? Show me. Okay, was it painful?
Not painful.
Can I ask you something? Will you let your Meme take the injection? Why?
Why, darling?
Why you down?
Oh, Mama has to answer for you?
Yeah.
Wait, whisper to me. Why? Why? Oh, because she loves Meme not to get COVID.
That is so sweet. Well done.
At the time of filming, Elizabeth was among the 11% of children between the ages of 5 and 6 to get their first dose of the Pfizer vaccine in Singapore. For the next week, I'll be checking in on her to see if she suffers any side effects.
Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Stephanie may have no qualms about vaccinating her child, but our survey revealed that 52% of parents were concerned about the immediate side effects of the vaccine, while 22% feel that children only experience mild symptoms if infected by COVID-19. But just how mild are the symptoms of COVID-19 in children? Dr. Lim Yang Chen has been treating kids with COVID-19 through the Home Recovery Program. What happens when a child gets COVID-19?
The commonest portal of entry is through the upper respiratory tract. So the virus is usually inhaled, goes through the nasal cavity, enters the upper respiratory tract and then hits lower down. For some reason, in children, it seems to arrest there. It stop there and not go further. Whereas for adults who are older or have more complications, medical problems, it can more easily go down to the lower respiratory tract, causing pneumonia and more severe disease.
Any possible explanation of why it stops there?
There's some evidence to suggest that the innate immune response, that's more basic in the immune system, seems to be more active in children and therefore more able to eliminate the COVID virus and prevent it from going into the lower respiratory tract. So for the most part, children who get COVID-19 actually get a very mild illness. There are even some children who actually get asymptomatic illness. So the commonest symptoms often are indistinguishable from your common cold and flu. They get fever, sore throat, runny nose and cough. But peculiar to kids, quite a few of them actually get fever, abdominal pain and diarrheal symptoms as well. And this can often be missed because most people think it's stomach flu.
If the children are getting mild symptoms from COVID-19, then why do they need the vaccine?
The symptoms of long COVID in children and adults, there's considerable overlap. So from some of the children I have taken care of in the home recovery program, quite a few of them have mentioned that they have loss of smell. And this loss of smell can be quite persistent, 6 to 9 months. Some children have fatigue, easy fatigability, they get tired, they have lack of energy compared to pre-COVID. And this can also last 3/4 of a year or sometimes even longer. So while the magnitude of this problem isn't very life-threatening, it's going to affect their quality of life quite negatively.
Would you like to see your young patients coming through here vaccinated?
My approach to vaccination would be tiered. So if the child is at risk, for example, my child has active asthma, he requires daily therapy, I would go ahead and vaccinate because these are the children, if they catch COVID infection, may get complications, may require hospitalization, ICU care, ventilation, and evidence has shown that it can prevent that.
Hi! So today is our first day post-vaccination and Elizabeth, how are you feeling?
Good, 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 good.
Yeah, so she was fine yesterday when she came home. She didn't complain of any pain whatsoever, didn't have any side effects, slept well through the night as well.
Authorities announced on January 10th that there will be no vaccination differentiated measures for children aged 12 and below. But could this change?
There are probably two scenarios here that could make the government rethink its policy.
Today is day 3 since Elizabeth's vaccination and she's doing great. Yeah, she hasn't had any side effects after 3 days, so I'm hoping that means that
she's just not getting any. She's been doing her usual thing, going to school, her enrichment classes, but instead of going out on the weekend, we have been trying to stay indoors more. So she's just been playing indoors with her sister and doing her own writing and art and craft.
For now, there are no plans by the Singapore government to implement vaccination differentiated measures on children below the age of 12. And here's what's interesting. When vaccination was opened to children below the age of 12, I conducted a survey. One of the questions was if parents agreed that vaccination differentiated measures at public areas should apply to children under 12 years old. 44% of parents said no, but more than half, that's 56%, wanted these measures. Of the 56% who do, they feel it should be applied to areas like childcare centres, tuition centres, and more importantly, schools.
Hello, Diana. How are you?
I'm showing these results to infectious diseases expert Professor Su Li Yang. I want his opinion on whether these measures will change in the future. Prof, do these results surprise you?
Actually, I confess that I'm very surprised by these results. In fact, I would expect more parents to disagree with vaccination differentiated measures for children, and to have 56% agree. That's really a surprisingly high percentage.
Why do you think the 56% were rooting for vaccination differentiated measures?
Perhaps if they intended to vaccinate their children, then they may not wish their children to be exposed to others who may potentially be harboring the virus. Because while vaccination protects against severe COVID-19, it doesn't protect that well against infection with the virus per se.
The government has said that there will be no vaccination differentiated measures for the under 12-year-olds for now. What is the likelihood that that will change?
I think there are probably two scenarios here that could make the government rethink its policy. The first is, in the future, touch wood, if there is a more transmissible or deadly variant of COVID-19, then certainly they would think about implementing vaccination differentiated measures for everyone, not just the adults. Number two, the second scenario would be that if there were large waves of infections occurring in schools and large numbers of children had to be isolated, that may again cause them to rethink and to impose vaccination differentiated measures. There's a third scenario which happened with adults, which is that they would wait to see what is the uptake of vaccination in childhood population, and if it is not very high, for instance, then they may implement these measures to try to push or nudge parents to vaccinate their children.
If we don't have a high enough take-up rate for the vaccines for the under 12, will that lead to more infections in this age group?
It will certainly lead to a higher infection rate. I think that's beyond doubt. As to whether that will really matter, I think we have to wait and see.
The Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine is the only one approved right now for children. If some parents are concerned about the safety surrounding this mRNA vaccine, I wonder if giving them options would make a difference. Sinovac and Sinopharm both use an inactivated virus technology. This means that you are injected with dead virus particles, triggering the body's immune system to produce antibodies against COVID-19. Unlike mRNA technology, which only started human trials in 2009, inactivated viruses were first introduced at the end of the 19th century, which leads some to believe that this is a tried and tested technology and therefore much safer.
If your vaccination helps you.
So are these vaccines really better for children? Dr. Leong Ho Nam's clinic has been getting at least 20% more calls from parents who want to know if they can use non-mRNA vaccines on their children. Not that it'll make a difference, though.
The Ministry of Health does not allow us to administer this vaccine.
The non-mRNA vaccines have been approved in places like China and Indonesia for kids as young as 3 years old, but mRNA vaccines is only from 5 years old and above. Does that mean that the former is safer?
The former may probably have less reactions, but the trials were done in countries where there were not many COVID cases. In other words, you have safety data without efficacy data. We don't know how well the vaccine will hold out against the actual real-life challenge. On top of that, these were done probably with the Delta variant. And we all know that Omicron is a lot trickier with a lot more mutations, and the ability to evade the immune system of previously vaccinated individuals far supersedes what we have ever seen. So in other words, we are unlikely to see these inactivated vaccines be efficacious against the Omicron variant.
So the data that we have got so far for very young children, it's just not good enough.
It's just not good enough. I don't dare to give it to my own children because I would actually be giving a placebo vaccine because there's no solid data.
So when do you think, if ever, the non-mRNA vaccines could be approved for children 5 to 11 years old?
The light at the end of the tunnel would be two possible vaccines. One, Novavax. Singapore has purchased Novavax vaccine, and should it become available, it will be available for adults first. I know they are doing children trials now overseas, and the results should be available very quickly, and it could be within 3 to 5 months if all the planets are lined up in a straight line. We could administer it for children. The second vaccine is actually invented by the Texas University, where they tied up with Serum Institute of India, where they are doing ongoing trials now for children. Those are inactivated vaccines with great promises. And with that, we can actually negate the requirement for mRNA vaccines in children.
If the non-mRNA vaccines were offered to kids 5 to 11 years old, will that improve the take-up rate, and by how much?
I think the pick-up rate will be excellent. I expect all children to be vaccinated thereafter.
Hi everyone, it's me, Little Bob. It's 7 days since my vaccination. I'm feeling good.
Do you miss going to the outdoor playground?
Yes, and swimming.
Yeah. The past 7 days, we're very thankful we really didn't get any side effects, and time has really passed very quickly. So I don't think that taking the jab felt disruptive to our schedules at all, besides the fact that she really misses going down to swim because we do that very often. Do you look forward to taking a booster?
Yes, so I can get chocolate and I don't have COVID.
There are no social consequences for now if your child is unvaccinated. As for me, my 10-year-old decided that she wanted to get jabbed. As the pandemic continues to evolve, so too will the development of the vaccine, and that could provide the much-needed assurance for some parents.